The other thing I want to talk about is friendship, because my friends showed up for me in different ways that were really powerful. So first of all, when we went on the date, he came over and I was cooking, and the first thing that was a bit odd is that he said he didn't don't make pasta for me because I'm not hungry. He said I want to bring over alcohol. It's weird to say, like, I want to bring alcohol as opposed to bring wine or something. So I said okay. So he came. He didn't want to eat, he just wanted to drink. And so then at a certain point he said, do you have more alcohol? And I said, no, I had already got this pasta and I was sauteing potatoes and leeks and making spaghetti. And I said, no, I didn't bring alcohol, I made dinner. But he didn't want to eat dinner because he wasn't hungry for some reason. And so then which was weird because I'd asked him earlier what time he liked to eat dinner and if there was anything he was allergic to. So we decided to go down. We kind of sat for a while, and then we decided to go down to the Advent, and he was just really intent on getting more to drink. I know that he struggles with anxiety, so I felt, okay, maybe he's just feeling anxious, but at that point I was starting to get a little bit concerned. And so we went down, and he wanted to stop at the first place instead of go to the main square because he thought it was going to be cheaper. And he started getting really philosophical and started giving me direction, like I should tell him to get his shit together, or I should give him advice, and like telling me how I should be giving him advice about his life. Like I should be his life coach and I wasn't doing it correctly and I was too sweet. And he was kind of talking and talking. And so I kind of was like trying to be nice and funny and, saying things like, yeah, get your shit together. And then he started being very critical of my cooking and saying I didn't know how to cook, kind of like a joke. And I felt a little bit bad about that. I mean, I know other people have really loved my cooking, and I thought, okay. And he's like, well, you don't know how to cook, haha. So then we kept going, and at that point I was starting to feel really disconnected, so I was kind of trying to bring him back to me and feel like, okay, hey, let's connect. Let's, I want to be with who you are and not this, person who's kind of getting very, critical and philosophical. And so, and he was like, what's wrong with me? And I was like, well, I think maybe if you're more fit. And he's like, oh, I tried CrossFit. I was so fit and that didn't work, for the anxiety. And so then we went to the square and he just kept on drinking more and more. And at one point he asked me if I had cash. And I just said no, like you can use a credit card. And then he started saying that he wanted to find cocaine. So at this point, one of my best friends texted me and asked me how the date was going. And I texted her and I said, hey, he's drinking a lot. And my friend said, get out of there as soon as you can. And this is just the power of other people, because I don't know if I would have ended up leaving as early as I did. I didn't leave at that point if my friend hadn't been so clear, coming from the outside with so much love. And just for any woman dating, and men too, whoever, if you're listening to this and you're dating, before you start dating anyone, you need a best friend, you need a circle of friends, because it's not good to do this alone. You need that outside perspective and accountability and people who love you, pulling you towards your true self and what you need and what you want and your safety. So anyway, he got more to drink. This is his second beer at this point. We're in this square. It's nice, but I started to feel like him pulling more and more away from me, which is often something that happens with people who are alcoholic. Let me see how my breakfast is coming. And so I was feeling like, okay, I don't know about this. So at this point, he started looking at his phone, and I could tell he was checking the WhatsApp group of digital nomads to see if anything was going on. And then he starts talking about this guy who's kind of, I don't know, he's just this guy who like smokes and just hangs out and doesn't really do much, but he's kind of a center point of the digital nomad group. Oh, also, at this point, he told me that at the last digital nomad meetup, he had gotten really drunk and been loud and broke some stuff. And so he was so glad they let him back in. You could tell he felt bad about it. So I was starting to get some signs that he had a drinking problem.